Happy Thursday, everyone. Welcome, welcome. I've got to turn my ticker on. Got to give love to all of the sponsors. Oh, God, I got to find it. Ticker. Boom. What's up, everyone? Hey, hey. Okay, I've got my comments up. Oh, I would love interaction for this podcast tonight, yo. Tonight we're talking about momentum. Momentum is so key in life as long as it's positive, right? So I want to talk to you about positive momentum, keeping it going, getting it going, maintaining it, and how we step into the field, the quantum field of infinite possibility when we have positive momentum going, and then negative momentum, how we can find a pattern interrupt in order to slow that momentum. And so I want to start with this analogy of picture a car in San Francisco, okay? There's a car, you give it a nudge, and it's going down this really freaking steep hill in San Francisco. You're not going to step in front of the car because you're going to get plowed, right? So this is the power of momentum. When we get things going, the universe is behind us, whether it's positive or negative, because we get what we think about. We get what we think about. It's called the law of attraction. It's very consistent. And this is why we take control of our mind so that we can take control of our personal reality. Your personality creates your personal reality, right? So let's back up a little bit and let's talk about this in terms of sports. And let's talk about the Super Bowl. Wow. First of all, I was very disappointed in that game. I was super excited. Like I watched the the AFC, NFC championship games. I got super excited about the game. I thought it was going to be this like massively high scoring game with these two amazing quarterbacks going head to head. It was kind of a disappointment. Tell me how you felt about the Super Bowl. And talk about the momentum, okay? And so this is where the mindset piece comes in. Like you've got this young, amazing athlete in Mahomes, and then you've got this like veteran athlete in Brady, right? And these two going head to head. And clearly Mahomes, he got in his own head, didn't he? He got in his own head. Negative momentum started occurring. The defense was on his ass like crazy, and he just couldn't land those passes over and over and over again. And he couldn't stop the negative momentum of what was going on because he hasn't quite developed the mindset that Brady has developed. And I know we've seen Brady in some situations too, where he couldn't quite get that negative momentum to stop and reset, but he has so much experience. He's such a veteran. And he does so much mindset work. This dude does a crazy amount of mindset work. And this has been his norm from the beginning. And we're 20 years in. I think that's correct. Someone let me know if I'm correct. 20 years in the NFL, oldest quarterback. And then his coach, what's his name? Arians, right? I think, is the oldest coach in the NFL. And so it was an interesting game. It was a really interesting game. We saw the Chiefs, scored 3 field goals. So field goal after field goal after field goal, a couple of shitty punts. But it was just like the same thing on repeat over and over and over again for the Chiefs. They never really could get their groove going, and they couldn't find an appropriate pattern interrupt. And I'm curious, I'm really curious about what the conversation was at halftime. Like, what did the coach say? What do you think? I have no idea. And I really didn't play a lot of organized sports as a kid. So I don't know. But do you think he talked about, do you think he started out saying, this is what we did right? Or do you think he went into, okay, this is what we need to work on? And so this is the thing about quantum physics, is it is so important to focus on the positive. Regardless, even if you're doing a shitty job, the best thing that you can do for yourself in order to reset, in order to shift the momentum, is to sit down and make a list of everything that you did right first. Make a list of every single thing you did right first, which might sound counterproductive at first, because you might think that you have to focus on the negative in order to fix the negative. But the best way to fix the negative is to reset, focus on the positive, and that way you're shifting what your brain is open to receiving. You're moving yourself out of the negative emotional state into a more positive emotional state where you can actually evaluate what you screwed up in a neutral way. Because we can't really evaluate things that we've screwed up in that same emotional state. It doesn't work like that, because we're in like this fight or flight. We're in this sympathetic nervous system response where we're like trying to keep ourselves safe. And even though it seems irrational, like this is how our brains are wired. We're wired to stay safe because we used to be hunter-gatherers. We used to have to look over our shoulders for like the bobcat coming to chase us down. And so it's like a maladaptive mechanism where we get into that sympathetic nervous system response, which, you know, the whole flipping Chiefs team, that's where they were. And so you get emotional. It got really aggressive, right? And they just couldn't get that. They couldn't shift the momentum. So it was an interesting game. I thought it would be higher scoring, but the halftime show was just okay. What do you think about the halftime show? Meh. It was okay. Okay, so shifting momentum in your life. How does this apply in your life? So think about getting up in the morning. Have you ever had a really good morning where your day turned into a really good day, or the opposite? Have you ever had a really shitty morning and your day just kept getting worse and worse and worse, where you get up and you like get out of bed, you stub your toe, and then you trip down the stairs, you spill your coffee? This is momentum. This is momentum. So this is why we learn a pattern interrupt. So you get up in the morning and you stub your toe. Instead of cursing and screaming about it, you stop and you just kind of laugh, take a deep breath, and move on. Or get back in bed. Get back in bed for a little while. Like, reset that way. Do meditation. I don't care if it's 2 to 5 minutes. Do something to stop the momentum, set the intention to shift your day, and your day will unfold so much better. So I would love to know, tell me in the comments, what sort of things do you use to find a pattern interrupt if things are difficult? If you're at work and you're having a crappy day, can you take a break and just remove yourself from the situation for a little while? Go sit in your car for a little while, listen to some music. I think a great pattern interrupt is dancing, moving your body. Doing this podcast at 7:30 after having 3 kids at home all day, because they're all still at home because of COVID. Like, by the time I get to 7:30, I have to do something besides drink coffee to gain some momentum, to put some energy into this program, because this is what I love. I love doing this stuff. I love talking to you guys. And so I usually do something physical. I take a run. It's too damn cold for that. Sometimes I make myself. I didn't tonight. So I danced and I got that momentum going and that energy flowing in my body, pumping all of these happy chemicals throughout our body. And that's the thing about momentum too. When we have negative momentum going, you've got cortisol pumping through your blood, like this stress hormone. You've got all of these negative chemicals flowing, being released from your brain, going into your body, filling your cells. And so shift it, like make yourself laugh. Have you ever, my kids think I'm crazy, but I do this sometimes and it really works. If I'm in kind of a crappy mood, have you ever made yourself laugh? Like literally start laughing and, and just keep laughing until it turns into a real laugh. It really works. It really does. And then you shift the neurochemicals in your brain. And then they flood your body. And then the day gets better. I mean, this is real science. This is not woo-woo stuff. It's real science. When you've got positive momentum going, how do we keep this going? You know, let's say you're playing a sport. You're playing a sport and you know, you keep landing those passes, you keep hitting those 3-pointers, you keep the momentum going, you've got people around you supporting you, you've got the fans are cheering for you, right? They're supporting you. Again, releasing all of these positive chemicals. When you are at work and let's say you're in sales and you start selling, like these things come in clusters, don't they? They seem to come in clusters. And if we can just keep that feeling going, it doesn't have to be feast or famine. My mom said that to me not very long ago. Life seems to be feast or famine is what she said. And I was like, no, I don't want to hear that. I don't want that to be my life anymore. I don't want it to be feast or famine. And this is about momentum. I want my life to be better and better and better. I just want it to keep flowing and flowing and flowing. Maintain that good feeling as long as you can. And so I read this book called The Big Leap, really good book called by Gay Hendricks. Get it? It's an easy read. It's a short book. And what he talks about in this book is how we have this internal thermostat. And because of the way we're raised, because of these stories that we're told as children, not in a negative way, you know, our parents pass down these stories to us, not because they want to hurt us, because some of these stories they tell, they don't know any better, right? They're saying to you the things that they know. It's all out of love. But we have this internal thermostat, and it can only go to a certain level. Okay, because we're trained for it to be set at a certain level. So a certain amount of income, a certain amount of happiness, a certain amount of positive relationships. And so what happens when we get momentum going, and we start feeling really, really good, we get to that set point and something, boom, derails us. Again, this is that maladaptive part in our genes, in our brains, that tries to keep us in the same space, because your brain doesn't differentiate. It's like your brain just wants to keep you where you are, whether you ascend or descend, because you're safe. There's not a tiger eating you, right? There's not a bobcat chasing you. So it wants to keep you safe. So what we have to do is we have to find ways to turn that thermostat set point up. And how do we do this? It's all about mindset. It's about taking the time to quiet your mind and allow creativity to flow through you. Because this is where the magic happens. The magic happens when we step into fun and creativity. I think analytical is fun for some people. It's not for me. But the fun happens, the magic happens when we quiet the mind, allow the divine to flow through and point us in a direction that really lights us up. And so something else I learned is there's this zone of excellence and there's the zone of genius. And so for me, my zone of excellence was being a nurse. I was a very good nurse, a very, very good nurse, but it didn't super, super light me up because I didn't realize I was going to be passing out narcotics most of my day. And I didn't like doing that. It wasn't fun for me. I was good at it. And I was good at CPR and I was good at saving lives, but it didn't light me up. And so that was my zone of excellence because I was really good at it and not everyone else could do it. So that's a zone of excellence, something you're good at and not everyone else can do it. But then there's your zone of genius. Your zone of genius is where you really thrive. Your zone of genius is really where you step out of your comfort zone and you grow and you grow and you grow. And this is where momentum can really take place. This is where we really thrive. And for me, though I still have lots of work to do, I'm always learning, this is my zone of genius. Talking to you guys about mindset is what really puts me in a high vibrational state and allows me to draw in all of the good things in life, because this is what makes me really happy. Really happy. I freaking love it. It's what lights me up. So I would encourage you to focus on exhilaration, because exhilaration is going to keep your momentum going. Focus on when something good happens. Don't belittle it, because we have a bad habit of belittling our accomplishments. Let the momentum build. Focus on what you have accomplished. Write down details about it. Compliment yourself. Celebrate yourself to keep that momentum going. It's so important to celebrate yourself. We are not taught to celebrate ourselves. We are taught that we are being conceited. I remember the first time I told my son to celebrate himself, he said to me, "Well, that doesn't feel right." I was like, "Well, it is." Celebrate yourself. It's so important. So really come up with some tools, get exhilarated, have a dance party, and stopping negative momentum. You got to find a pattern interrupt. You've got to stop and take a deep breath. And the more you do it, the easier it becomes. The more intentional you are about it, the easier it becomes. Okay, let's see here. What else do we have? The Super Bowl was fantastic. Oh, I see Katie Garcia has popped up again. Oh, man. So this here, Katie Garcia would probably be part of my, my thermostat. We'll talk more about that later. Okay, so I love you guys. Tell me your biggest takeaway in the comments. I would love to hear it. I hope that you enjoyed this. I hope that you get that momentum going. Tomorrow's going to be a good day. Tonight's going to be a good night. I love you guys so much. Remember, you are unique. You are special. You have something to offer this world that no one else has to offer. A unique frequency. No one has what you have. So share it with the world. Have an amazing night, and I will be back next week. I love you guys so much. Have a great night.